All right, Virgos, welcome in. This is your monthly reading. This is for March, for the month of March. Welcome to any of you that are new to my channel. These readings are a combination of a little bit of astrology. Full disclaimer, I'm not an expert astrologer, but I do like to dabble a little and talk about the astrology and what's going on, because I think it helps to, again, just get the bigger picture of what's going on, why certain things are happening, why you're feeling a certain way, what to look out for, as far as even just like planning our lives, like when's a good time to, have serious discussions or talk to your boss about an issue. When's a bad time to sign a contract or to make big purchases, get married, or just like, hey, this is a time to not, be too impulsive, or just wait to have that conversation, whatever it is. So it's a little bit of astrology with my intuitive reading ability. So I intuitively, clairvoyantly, just connect and get information. And then we also use the Oracle and Tarot cards. All right, so we are here. It's spring, March here. We're closing out winter. We got the spring equinox coming up in March. Very exciting. Been waiting, right? It's like I've been kind of telling everyone, it just seems like yesterday it was December and we were talking about how 2026 is going to unfold. And now look at, we've made our way through the first quarter, which was going to be one of the biggest periods of this year. And we definitely are seeing that. We've seen a lot happen in the collective, in the external world. I've also seen a lot happen with people's lives on a personal level. It's, there's been a lot of difficult, challenging things that have happened for people. There's been a lot of changes, and they've happened very spontaneously, a lot of surprises, and kind of like, whoa, like, what do I do with this? But I think this is just showing us what this year is bringing. It's bringing radical change. It's bringing a complete reset, clearing out the things, really finally, like we are destroying structures, foundations, things that just we're seeing have not been working for us. They have not been in integrity. People are not doing things that are for the best and highest good of everybody. People have been doing things for their own good and their own selfish reasons. There's been a lot of nefarious activities, and this is all true. If you're still sitting trying to pretend or act like this can't be true, we're realizing that anything is possible, and that's where we're shifting our consciousness. We're realizing that anything and everything is possible, whether it's extremely dense or also extremely, higher dimensional. So it's about a choice right now. I've been talking about that choice point of what are we going to go down the dense path, or are we going to allow the density to pull us in with it, or are we going to make new choices, have new conscious awareness, and open ourselves up to new miraculous possibilities. Also in there is people who are deciding they don't want to change. They want to hold on to the old ways. They don't want to make the actual changes to their life they have to make to go down the new paths that are open to us, that are going to bring forth abundance and happiness and fulfillment and things, and deepening of love, a deepening of an understanding of who we are, aligning with a life that's more truly authentically us. So that we're going to see that, right? It doesn't mean we're going to just shift, into this new reality and we're not going to have any connection with all these other people. Like it is kind of like going through a portal, but we're still going to see other people living lives that aren't authentic. They're still living lives that they're holding on to the old ideas and belief systems and not willing to make the changes. And that's okay. But we're going to now start seeing a new reality unfold that maybe we just felt like no matter what we did, it didn't happen. Or no matter what we did, we couldn't see changes. But those are starting to happen. All right, Virgos. Let's see what's going on in March. You have stillness and cornucopia. So this can be a kind of dichotomy here, because this to me is like spring and like, and even the fall, like the harvest, like there's a lot of abundance coming in. There's an abundance here. But on this side, like that's still kind of the lingering winter. There's still some slowness and stillness going on. But actually what I'm getting from this for you Virgos is you can create abundance and magnetize abundance into your life without having to like do it into existence, or you don't have to like be highly productive or like make a plan, because Virgos, you're very much externally physically focused, right? You like organizing things, you like a plan, you like you're very good at that. You're very good at the details of things. But I do feel like it's kind of a lot of Virgos that can go to a detriment, right? Where you're just always focused on the routines and the checklists and the things you need to do all day, instead of really going more internal and slowing down. And that's where the stillness is. It's about slowing down. It's about slowing the mind. And when you can connect more to that place of stillness within yourself and find comfort there and be okay with being there, that's where you can truly bring in. That's where all of a sudden you open up the doors that have been closed to you. And it's actually the opposite of what you've been told all your life and what you've been trained and what you've been programmed to believe. And that's where right now these belief systems, these old traditional templates that we were forced to take on, that we were, again, programmed into us as children from our families, our cultures, our societies, our religions, so many different, everything coming from the external world at us was really feeding us a false sense of truth, a false sense of how we interact in this physical reality, because it really hasn't, of course, we've all experienced good and bad things, and some of us may look at our lives and say, well, it's not that bad, but that's the key, is we're settling for not that bad, or we're settling for surface level. No, we want to open ourselves to not settling anymore, and we're opening up to abundance here at levels that we never thought were possible. Truth and contract, interesting. So from a higher perspective, again, we're learning new truths, right? We're gaining new clarity about these false beliefs, these really opening up to seeing our behaviors, our patterns. Maybe if you have a lack mentality or a fear of money, you're really seeing it for what it is. And I think it's finally coming together this month, where it's like you're finally like, no, I'm not going to let this control me anymore. Also with the contracts, these are like templates that were like karmic templates that was part of why you came down in this reality. We all come down here and we assign up for certain templates. So we could sign up for a template of poverty, of struggling with money, and having all those programs that, money's hard to come by, or I have to work really hard to even earn $1. Like, these are contractual karmic templates that we had to take on and actually subscribe to those and find truth in them and experience poverty, or experience, maybe a lack of love or abandonment, or different things, because we actually are breaking those templates, and that there's something coming up for you Virgos, and I think right here what's coming out is it's around abundance. So you have, to me, you've had a block around abundance, and you're breaking free of that so that you're opening again up new, just, it's almost like you hit a ceiling, like you built a ceiling of my abundance. I can't go above this level of abundance, but you're actually now breaking that ceiling to limitless potential now because you're seeing the truth. Wow. Pretty deep stuff here. All right, let's pull some tarot. You got the Empress. So this could be tied more strongly to your mother or your maternal side of the family. That's something that's just coming up. Two of Cups and the Two of Swords. 2 twos here. So we're finding balance with the twos. It's about finding some sort of balance where before you had an imbalance in some area here. I do feel like because we have the Cups and the Swords, there was kind of an imbalance between your mind and what your mind was replaying. These could be the beliefs in your head and also what's in your heart and what your emotions. There's a little bit of imbalance between your emotional body and then also being in your head. But this is about finding some balance this month. I also feel for some of you, this Two of Swords is also kind of saying you weren't willing to see the truth. You tried to block out, you were in denial because you didn't want to. There's something about once you see the truth and know the truth, right? You have to make changes. And it's almost like to make the change just seem too difficult. But what's interesting, and that's how most of us humans live, that can be in regards to anything in life. We don't want to look at the truth. We don't want to look at the elephant in the room because once we acknowledge it, like we're too afraid or have too many beliefs where we're like, we don't want to make the changes. We don't want to address the elephant in the room because to address it means there's going to be consequences. And we're going to have to do something. And we're in a space where we don't want to do that for many different reasons. And most of the time the root is really either so much fear or it's like you don't want to. Because it takes a lot of strength and courage and confidence to do that. But that could mean your whole life gets blown up, right? And that's pretty scary. Strength. King of Swords and the Five of Cups. So there is some sort of underlying, I think, repressed grief and loss in your past that you've really kind of pushed down. And you've kind of been in a bit of denial about it. You haven't really ever wanted to go there again because it was too painful for some of you. But here's the Strength card, right? So we have this like I said, we're finding the strength to do things that we weren't willing to do, in the past, but for some reason with the changes that are happening energetically, we're starting to see differently. We're starting to find different truths, and we're actually gaining more confidence than we ever have before. And we're starting to make things, we have the King of Swords in the heart of the reading. So this is about really getting clarity, making decisions, communicating things. Like you're kind of putting your foot down about things. You're getting clarity about where you're going in your life, what you're willing and not willing to do anymore. And you're making that really clear. And you're not holding back. And it could be tied to certain relationships. 10 of Pentacles, the Hierophant, and the 6 of Cups. Yeah, so this is there's a lot of stuff from the past coming up. So like I said, the Hierophant is the traditional templates, the traditional, this is how you have to do things. This is how you have to look at life. And these were programmed since you were young, right? And you have the Six of Cups. So this is about childhood and nostalgia. So there's a lot of like, for some of you, it's like we hold on to these things. We hold on to these beliefs or these, even if they impact us negatively, sometimes we hold on to them because it's like there is some sort of sense of sentiment tied to it, because it's like, this is what my family did, and this is how my family lived, and these came from my family. And we I mean, right, our blood is our blood, and we tend to love our families. And it's like, the more we separate ourselves and do things differently, it's almost like we tend, that feeling of disconnection, of not having that connection. Because and potentially some of us could be afraid of actually losing that connection because we're not willing to live by the rules that were set by us, or rules by the family. If you live in a really hardcore, strict family, but you know, the Ten of Pentacles too references the family and the ancestral line. And this is very traditional, and it's definitely stemmed coming from our past. But I do feel like something in the past too, though, brought a lot of sadness and grief. So it could have been some incident. You could have gone through a major loss in your past, maybe from childhood, that's kind of coming up again. And this is kind of a karmic situation that you went through that was very difficult and challenging. It could be coming up for you to, again, to finally release. Let's see. What's the Five of Cups about? Nine of Wands. You've been carrying this for a long time. And even though you're not aware of it, you are carrying something from your past that has emotionally impacted you greatly. And I don't think you really see how this is still impacting you. And it has caused a lot of struggle and challenge for you. It could also be physically impacting you, maybe some health issues. Ten of Pentacles, Hierophant. Yeah, this stems from childhood. Definitely. So it's almost like you're facing the past again. Things are going to start triggering you. There's going to be some nostalgia about your childhood, about things that have happened. You know, this is going to start coming up a bit for you. And you kind of might be like, why am I going through all these feelings again? Why is this coming up for me? I thought, you know, I worked through this. Six of Cups, Eight of Cups. So this is happening because what's happening is you're going through a purification here, where this stuff is getting, the energy in the collective right now is really breaking. It's almost like, you know, you have to break things up to like, to make them easier to remove or to clean out. And this is about Eight of Cups. So this is about, it's the time, this is divine timing of, it's time to kind of integrate this. And you're elevating frequencies here. So it's kind of like you're moving up dimensionally here. And all of this, these emotions, these cups that you've been carrying that are more dense in nature, you can't bring forward. And it's like, this is happening naturally. Your higher self and your guides are helping you process through this again to finally be able to not let this, you can't carry this forward anymore. And also this has been what's been blocking you from your potential of abundance. All right, Virgos, very, very amazing here. This is going to be an interesting month, but you know, it may be a little choppy, but ultimately I think we just need to look at it and surrender. That's the biggest thing here. Surrender and allow this to come up. Definitely, the more you resist or the more you insist that I don't want to do this, I don't want to look at this, I'm going to continue to just like keep myself busy to try and avoid going in, right? Finding that quiet inside and really facing the truth. You're going to make it harder for yourself. So this is a time to not do that anymore. Just say, you know what? I let go of control. I let go of trying to resist. I'm trusting in the universe. I'm trusting that these feelings aren't going to overtake me and I'm going to die or I'm never going to get out of it. Because I feel like a lot of people feel that if they really allow themselves to go there and feel certain things, that they're not going to be able to handle it or they're not going to get out of that dark place. But that's not true. Ask for your protection, ask for support with this. And even set the intention of, you know what, I want to integrate this once and for all. I ask for support and help me to go through this as, you know, with ease and grace. So I can move through this as easily as possible without, you know, creating challenging or suffering for myself. So you'll be guided, but you have to be in tune, right? Be in tune with what you're feeling. Allow yourself to feel it. And also, you know, intuitively connect to the messages you're getting and the inklings you get. So if you feel like you need to do something, or, you know, you're being drawn to a book, whatever it is I think it's going to be messages coming in from your higher ancestors and your guides that are going to help you, give you the information and support you need to go through this more easily. All right, Virgos, you have a great month. Enjoy your spring equinox, and I will see you in the next reading.